Hi everyone, welcome back to the Just That Spice Kitchen. I'm so glad you're here with me today. Today's recipe is really quick, so let's get started. I'm making a roasted vegetable medley and the oven's gonna do all the work for you. So I hope you enjoy and let's get started. Let's zoom in now on all these ingredients. It's really quick, really simple ingredients. I have za'atar seasoning right here. It's a Mediterranean blend that you can get at pretty much any international grocery store or Indian store or Middle Eastern store. I have some black pepper and some salt. And I have a flavored oil here. It's basically some oil flavored with garlic, rosemary, thyme. You can find these at any grocery store of your liking, or you can make your own if you just infuse some olive oil with some powdered garlic or crushed garlic and heat it through a little bit, let it cool down, and you have this flavored oil. For vegetables today, I'm going to be using a medley of French green beans and some carrots. I'm going to slice these up and make them kind of relatively the same size so that when we roast it in the pan, in the oven, they cook evenly and you'll be able to get a nice little char on it. That's the way I like it. That's the way my family likes it, so that's how we're gonna do it today. This is a quick recipe, actually. I don't do a lot of ingredients at once for this recipe. I kind of try to make all these vegetables kind of the same size, kind of like this size. And I don't know if you grew up in a South Indian household or not, but a lot of times in the Malayali households, we call this merk roti when we use these green beans like this, thin green beans that we pan fry. And when we pan fry them, it basically has this shriveled up, really charred flavor to it. And it's really good because it has that roasted effect, but it's kind of pan fried up over a stovetop. I'm gonna do this in the oven because it's just quicker and we do things a little differently here.
So, can this be spicy or mild?
This is actually pretty mild. There's no real heat in here because the za'atar is a combination of cumin, sesame seeds, garlic. It's a blend. And then there's the black pepper, which is really not spicy. There's a little heat, a little warmth, but it's not spicy. And then obviously the garlic flavored oil doesn't have any spice to it. Again, this is a very flexible recipe actually. If you want to use different vegetables than I'm using right here, that's also possible. You can use cauliflower, broccoli. I usually do a blend, so at my grocery store I just thought to pick up some green beans and some carrots, but I usually would do this with some broccoli, cauliflower, whatever comes in the medley packets that you get in the fresh produce section. That's really what I use. So any vegetable that will hold up sturdy to the roasting time of your oven. I do a convection roast now on this for my oven at 400 degrees, but you can also bake it. When I bake it at 400, and maybe I need to cook it for a little longer than I do when I do convection roast. On convection roast, I probably do 12 to 15 minutes. I'm going to slice these carrots, and when I do the carrots, just for the look of the vegetable, when I slice it, I basically slice it at an angle. And these are baby carrots, so I do at an angle. I do it maybe like this, and then I do it again like this. You don't want to slice it too small or too tiny because it'll actually not hold the integrity of the carrot. So this is the way I do it.
So as far as an Indian dish goes, this is probably a pretty kid-friendly menu item that you could try.
Yeah, I think my kids really like charred vegetables. That's the only way they eat vegetables, really. And this was a way I actually just tried out to see if they'd like it. And They do like it. They like it pretty salty. I kind of lower the salt a little bit, but you can do the salt to your taste, however you like the spicy flavor, the seasonings to be.
So we have an option of putting it in the oven, grilling it, or baking it, like you said. This is pretty similar to what people would do with a grill, right? They would grill vegetables over a grill during the summertime and get a very similar consistency and flavor.
If you do this on the grill, you'd need a pan of some sort that would aerate that heat on the grill and still make it cook evenly and char evenly. So I probably would not do this on the grill unless you have some kind of pan like that, because these vegetables are pretty thin and small. They may fall through the slots of the pan, but if we were to do this on the grill, I'd do more like maybe an eggplant, potatoes. They're more sturdy. They'll hold up in that heat in those slotted pans. So that's the way I would do that. I would choose different vegetables, but for my purposes here, it's better to do this in the oven just for ease, convenience. It's quicker, and I don't want to be standing at the stovetop sometimes, and so I kind of just use this as a quicker way to do a dish like this.
So if someone did want to spice it up, would they just add cayenne, curry? What would you do?
I probably wouldn't go for curry powder, because curry powder has a more stronger flavor if you wanted to spice it up. Cayenne is a milder form of chili. That's one way I would do it. I would add these individual ingredients by itself. Maybe do a little bit of paprika, maybe do a little bit of cumin or coriander, but honestly, it doesn't even need that, because once you do this flavored oil, you'll see that a lot of the flavors in here, you can serve this with rice, you could serve this with an American dish, you could serve this with an Indian dish. Sometimes I pair it with my salmon, oven roasted salmon in the oven, and that recipe is on justthatspice.com, so go check it out. I pair this as a side to even just like my regular chicken curry or a beef curry. So you can use this dish as a very versatile side dish to pair with any meal, even if you don't have rice in that meal. For us, rice is a staple. We use that as kind of the center of our plate, and then we put our sides around our rice. But a lot of people don't eat carbs, don't want rice in their meals daily, so one way to do it is just serve it with some fish or salmon, tilapia. You could serve it with some baked chicken, some roasted pork, all sorts of things. There's so many ways you can use this. I've served this as a side in biryani too when I've had guests, and I just want a dry dish that's to be served with rice. I've served it with biryani and then another curry.
Would you add any onions, peppers, anything else like that in here?
You most definitely can add some shallots if you want a milder onion flavor. You can add a red onion if you want some more vibrancy of color and a stronger onion flavor. I don't add onions in this, but I have in the past, and it's just as good. So I've prepped my ingredients. Now what I'm gonna do is prep my pan. So I have a 9 by 13 inch pan that's been regularly used here, obviously. And I have a sheet of foil, tin foil, that I'm going to mold into this. This just makes cleanup easier. So my pan here is prepped with some tin foil. I like to do this because I fit the tin foil in here for easy cleanup. So I could spread my veggies out like this, and then once I pop it in the oven, it cooks evenly, it gets a nice char, and it's really tasty. So what I'm gonna do now is follow me right over here where I have my already cut up carrots and French green beans. I have that oil that I said at first I used maybe 4 ounces of that oil. I removed a quarter cup of that just because I don't know how much oil I'll need. You can adjust this according to your liking. I usually use a quarter cup, maybe a little bit more, and then I add the seasonings. I mix all this together. But if you need more oil and you want more oil flavor, then go ahead and do that. So what I'm gonna do is now put this quarter cup in, which is plenty, actually, because when I mix this up, you're gonna see that all this is gonna be evenly coating these vegetables. And now I'm adding the salt. I used about a teaspoon of salt in here. Add salt to your taste. I used a half teaspoon of black pepper, regular black pepper. And then I used 1.5 teaspoons to 2 teaspoons of za'atar seasoning. I mentioned earlier za'atar seasoning. I use this in my raita too, actually. Try it out. I have that recipe on justthatspice.com, so make sure you check it out. See if you like this flavor in your recipes. I'm gonna mix all this together, and as you can see, that quarter cup of oil was just perfect.
So a lot of cultures use za'atar. Egyptians, a lot of folks in the Middle East. Is there different varieties of za'atar that's out there?
There is. I've actually used Lebanese za'atar before. I've actually used sumac and made my own za'atar. It's pretty easy to make. And sumac actually has a citrusy flavor. So that component in here, in the za'atar flavoring, is actually really nice. So if you can find a za'atar that contains sumac in it, that's an actually very flavorful, tasty addition to veggies, any yogurt dips like raita, or even tzatziki people have used them in, I've seen. It's just a variation that not a lot of Indian cuisine uses, but I think it's just really nice and different. Okay, here we go. I didn't need all this oil, so I'm gonna put that aside. I have my already prepped pan here, 13 by 9-inch pan. This is for this amount of vegetables. I think I used maybe a half a pound of green beans, and then I just eyeballed the baby carrots. I basically took like 2 handfuls of baby carrots and cut them up. I'm just taking the leftover marinade from the bowl and making sure I get every bit of that flavor on these veggies. So I have this medley of vegetables here that I laid out on this pan. Spread them out as evenly as possible. Remember, this is coated with that flavored oil, za'atar, salt and pepper. Really simple ingredients. Anybody can make this, and your kids will love it too. Also, for not just kids, like people that don't have a spicy palate and just can't tolerate spice. Even though I actually make food adding spice, I lower my spice profile because that's just the way I like it. That's the way I prefer it. So these dishes can always be tailored to your liking. Make sure you add salt to taste, add pepper to taste, and use za'atar seasoning. Test it out, see how you like it, because sometimes a little bit more is preferable to some palates and then a little bit less for others. So let's go over to our oven and let's put this in, pop this in at 400 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes. Every oven temperature varies. So we're going to keep an eye on this, see how much it has roasted. On convection roast, I have this. And we'll show you the results once it comes out of the oven. So our roasted vegetables are ready. So we're gonna take this out of the oven. And as you can see, it's sizzling. And that's that sizzle you want to hear. And we're going to bring it over here. And what I end up doing is, because right now this is all laid out in an even layer, I want to mix this up a little bit. And you could put it on for longer. I did a 15-minute convection roast at 400 degrees. But even if you do maybe 12 to 15 minutes or more than that, maybe 20 minutes is fine, but you got to keep an eye on it because you don't want them to burn. This is basically the consistency I like it, the amount of char that I like on it. But again, you could do more or less if you want, just as long as your vegetables are cooked and flavored nicely. So thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to justthatspice.com, which is the website where this recipe can be found, or go to YouTube and watch the video and like and share there. I'm on Instagram at justthatspice. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.